Hey everybody, welcome back. It is another episode from Unpacking Our Shit with Fee and K Jr. I'm K Jr.
And I am Fee.
We
Welcome.
welcome y'all. This is a new series we're going to be starting today. We're starting the purpose of relationships. Are you here for a reason or a season? Or both?
It's both, period.
Let's
All of us.
find out.
Everybody.
And how do we figure that out?
Listen, you
And what
can't
if we
figure it out
find out
unless
what
you
we do
live.
and we find out too late?
That's why I'm just like, you gotta go through it to know. Ain't no way to know beforehand. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to know. But yes, I'm excited about this segment.
I'm excited about this segment too, because I guess it's gonna do. We're both, 40 something. You know what I'm saying? So we've lived enough life.
Especially me, because you're still a baby to me.
Oh,
even
you're
though you're not
older than me by a few years.
That's it, right? I be swearing, right? Like,
Years.
yo, baby, you a little young butt. It's like, girl, I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know.
But yes, we lived enough life. We lived enough life
to see patterns and to look back and see the how and why people are either in our life or they're not in our life or they're not in our life anymore. You know what I'm saying? Figuring that out helps you develop better relationships in the future, I think. Because sometimes when you look back over all the people that were in your life, you do see a pattern, the type of person that you gravitate to, the type of person that gravitates to you. And you see that manifested in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So when you look back on your relationships, do you see any patterns, or were there certain things that stuck out to you in a variety of those different relationships? Was there one certain theme that all those people had or have in common? Because there's patterns of people who have damaged you, and there's patterns of people in their life that have helped you. You know what I'm saying? So have you figured out any patterns along those lines?
Oh, there are absolutely, hell yeah, there are patterns. So what I've noticed over my life is, okay, so there are these things of, because my relationship issues is what the pattern is. So I am here, or I feel like I am here to have all these experiences with people, right? So I have these experiences in relationship wise with people to really get to the foundation of connectedness and like intimacy and all of that. So a lot of my experiences have dealt with just, I won't call them failed, but I had a lot of relationships, to put it plainly. And instead of internalizing that and feeling some type of way as far as feeling like I'm not good enough or not enough or not being seen or unimportant, that kind of stuff that I've been saying to myself for years, there are reasons that I went through that, because I had to heal and learn how to better show up for myself, because we attract our trauma. A lot of times we attract our trauma. So a lot of times we think that we're attracting people that, oh, we got this in common. We love the same movies, we love the same foods, but we're also attracting trauma energetically. And a lot of times we don't know it. So whatever it is that we feel like we're lacking in ourselves, lacking that we didn't get in childhood, like a lot of things start with childhood.
It does.
A lot of things start from childhood. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but it's not blame. It's just an explanation. You know what I mean? Not an excuse.
We have to break out of that train of thought in this community of, talking about past things as sort of blaming, just because, right. And they keep it that way just because the past is so hard for them to talk about. Right. Either because they have unresolved feelings, or they know they really, really fucked up at some point and they don't want to, they don't want to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
So, we're not taught to talk about that, but we have to, you know what I'm
We
saying?
do.
Because that it does affect a lot of the things we do. And yes, there were mistakes made, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that we can't improve our relationships because they figure, oh, that just happened so long ago, or whatever. It's that. It's like, no, you can
No.
still hear from that now, and things can
Exactly.
get better now
Yep.
and be better down the line and have a better relationship with you now.
Exactly.
We can't keep having these, relationships where people are gaslighting the fuck out of us and telling us,
Every
oh, the past is just the past and da 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 da. I
exactly.
mean, yes, to a certain extent, but it's also a lot of determining factors of the things that go on in a lot of the developmental part of your life in different times, whether it be your teens or your early 20s or,
Yep.
fucking even your fucking 30s, depending on what's going
Shit.
on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. All of it plays a part. So yeah, that's what my theme is, trying to get through this shit. Trying to
Mm-hmm.
become a better version of me, trying to be trying to show up at the fullest extent of my potential, really. Because okay, as far as the themes go, my theme is I am here to break generational curses, generational stuff. So my theme is a lot of it is based on secrecy, um, shame, guilt, things done in the dark, things done behind closed. A lot of my stuff is around secrecy and shame, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So that's the thing from my life, starting from 5, back to I can remember up until the present. And so what I'm getting from that is that that's why I'm here talking about unpacking our shit, because a lot of things are done in the dark, which is why I talk about shadow work, which is why I talk about archetypes. All of that plays into my role in this world and my purpose. So what I kept noticing was that I would attract certain relationships that were secret. So I'm either a side chick. I'm either messing around with somebody that's married, somebody that's unavailable, somebody that's like if I was dating a woman who wasn't out. You see what I'm saying? These things of secrecy, privacy. I'm not going to even put them in the same category because I think it's a fine line between secrecy and privacy. So that's the theme. Pregnancy, abortion. I got pregnant when I was 14 and was forced to have an abortion. That was a secret. You know what I mean? It's everything when I see the theme.
Mm-hmm.
So me, even when I got married, I'm now divorced, but at the time I got pregnant, I didn't know that my ex-husband was a drug addict. That's a secret. You know what I mean? Everything was all about living in secrecy. So I'm living this. Nobody knows because I got to keep that a secret because I'm feeling ashamed about that and guilty about the fact that I ended up attracting or getting with someone that's a whole drug addict out here in these. You know what I mean? So just um really coming in to shift the narrative of those stories so that I can become a better version of myself. So that's my thing all of my life, to navigate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mainly romantic and
Mainly
some
romantic.
familiar, familiar too, because it's helping me get closer to my kids. You know what I'm saying? I show up a different way for my kids because I'm healing and healed from certain things that I've been dealing with all of my life. All of that's, you know what I mean? All that stuff is trauma because like I said, we internalize that stuff and make it mean something when somebody does something. Someone breaks up with us. Somebody, calls
Mm-hmm.
out our name. Someone hits us. Someone molests us. We internalize that to make it mean typically what it doesn't mean. You know what I mean?
Means something more than what
More
it
than
does
it,
mean.
right.
Yeah.
So to kind of mask that pain, we show up in this world doing again like emotional maturity, emotionally immature stuff to
Mm-hmm.
mask the pain we're feeling because we're feeling less than, not seen, hurt. So we show up as if we're these badasses or we're angry, we're doing everything, you know what I'm saying, to meet a need, because everything is about meeting a need. As human beings, we have needs that need to be met, and we'll do whatever we have to do to get those needs met. So, and not a want, I'm talking about needs. We all have the same human needs, the same 6 basic human needs, really. And we show up and get those needs met in different ways. We just got to find ways to do it, to find ways to get those needs met positively or negatively. So
right,
we take different vehicles to get there.
you do. Sometimes the patterns and you see in the different relationships can kind of cross over into one each other. Like as far as like personal relationships and familial relationships, you know, sometimes that can blend. I tell you, for when I look back, we'll talk about the romantic part. When I look back on the patterns of the people that I drew in and the type of people I was drawn to, I'm personally attracted to big niggas. I love big niggas.
Okay,
You give me a nigga that's thick in the waist and cute in my face, I like that shit.
Yeah,
That's cool to me.
I like thick dudes
And I
too.
think in my mind that comes from wanting to feel protected because I did not feel protected. So I would always seek that out. And then the next part would be like the personality part, would be like, the psychology part of it all is that, and I'll be honest, I used to be a pick me. And that shit is embarrassing. It is. It's embarrassing. I think through all my 20s, I think I was that way.
Okay, explain. How about explain to, just in case someone doesn't know what that is.
Oh, a pick me is somebody who is extremely male identified, specifically for male approval, and they don't mind going out of their way to insult other women. And they use a lot of the same tactics that a lot of our elders use to shame women, shame, guilt, all this other things. You shouldn't do that and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to, be this way too. You know what I mean? It's always the I don't have a lot of female friends because they're drama type bitches, or they fall into the category of I, cook, clean, all this, do all this for my man, and that's why y'all can't keep y'all man.
Gotcha.
Because y'all don't cater to them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it comes out in those 2 ways. I'm just different. I'm the different kind of girl. We can burp and fart and play video games. I'm not like other girls. Whatever, bitch. Anyway, or you fall into the Susie homemaker dumb bitch. You know what I mean? And I noticed that in different types of relationships, and every last one of them, except the one that I have now, failed. They either failed in protecting me, or they failed to uphold the ideal of who I thought I was. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, especially in my last relationship, it ended horribly, like very devastating. I was no longer, no matter what I did all that stuff, the cook clean stuff, but either I didn't do it enough, I didn't do it well enough. He didn't like who I was. He just didn't fucking like me anymore. So, all of that other shit, none of that shit mattered. It didn't matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see it, now it didn't end horribly because of, some cheating or, baby or whatever, that he was just an evil motherfucker, because there's a way to break up with people and there's a way to not do that shit, and just did it the worst way possible. But anyway, you live and you learn, and then you learn and you recognize, and it's like, okay, why was that person in my life? Then you start thinking about motivation and agendas as to why people are in your life. You know what I mean? And I think about, okay, what purpose did I serve in their life? It's not always about you. It's not always about what purpose somebody serves in your life. What purpose did you serve in theirs?
Absolutely. And we can take that back further to say, okay, what this actual segment is about. What are the purpose of relationships? Because we need them, because we need each other. We can't do anything alone. We need each other to be, because we're all reflections and mirror images of each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, so you can see,
right,
even in like friendships, romantic partners, We can see ourselves in people because we're all the same. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're
Yeah.
all the same. It's just
Yeah,
about
we all
choice.
the
It's
same, but
about
we
choice.
think drastically differently.
I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
but we're all the same. We can all, that's why it's, when they say put yourself in somebody else's shoes, because we can easily be there, which is why like my
Mhm.
first book was called It Can Happen to You, because we like to think that, oh, that couldn't be me, or I would never do that. It's like, until you get in it. Like I would never thought that I would have been with a crackhead. Never. Nobody would ever thought that, which is why I was ashamed, because
Mhm.
I was the one that's just like, oh, how I would never. Oh, and it's just like, until you just don't know until it happens. You know what I mean? So I think that we all need each other. We are here
Mhm.
to help each other, and we all attract the people in our lives for a reason. There's a reason why we don't know all a gazillion people in the world. There's a reason for that. And there's a
Mhm.
reason why we we meet and connect with the people that we have, or the
Mhm.
people that we do. Even the ones that we can't stand, there's a reason for that too. You can
Yeah.
get a
But you
lesson.
have to be careful though. You have to be careful with that. With the whole what are people getting out of you? Because sometimes people are getting out of you more than they deserve or more than you need to
True,
give away.
true,
You know what I'm saying?
right. And that all comes with
And
awareness and
sometimes that comes
boundaries.
in, huh?
That all comes with awareness and boundaries too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people
Yeah.
only could get out of you what you give them. You
Yeah.
know what I
So
mean? That's the
you do have to be careful. You don't have to be like paranoid, but you do have to be more mindful. You have to be more careful. You do have to be, and I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear. You have to be less trusting. And I know that's hard to
Yeah, we
hear,
talked about that. I was like, no, yeah.
but
It's
you do
like,
have to
yeah,
trust a little. You can't be as trusting so quickly. You know what I mean? And just because of the different patterns that allows you to help protect yourself, because then you start seeing the what they always talk about, the red flags. You start seeing all that shit. You start seeing red flags. Oh, I remember this and this from such and such. I remember this and this from such and such. I remember how that shit ended up. Maybe this is not a person that I need around me right now. Maybe this person doesn't have a purpose for me. You know what I mean?
if you
And then there are
encounter if you
people,
encountered that person, there was a purpose. If
right?
any
And
type of
then
way.
there are people who are around for a season, you know, and then that season changes, and it isn't anything bad that ends it. It's a lot of times
Right,
people move, or people just lose contact and things like that.
right,
You know what I mean? And just people moving to different stages of their life. Whether you do have those different moments in your life where you have one person or people that was just everything, and then you drift from that that season, and that's not always bad. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
that doesn't mean that they're only going to be around for that season. Sometimes they come around all the time. So it's like, oh yeah, it's such that season. Woo! You know what I'm saying? And you have to be careful with that kind of thing. You really, really, really do. You really do. Because if I think back to all those romantic relationships and the things that they were getting out of it, I didn't get a lot of reciprocation. You know what I mean? For what I was giving. You know what I mean? Or it wasn't aligned with what they wanted. And then sometimes, like the last one, I remember, I think their purpose was to like kind of, mold me, because, they had a whole different intent. And then they started saying different things to me. Oh, you talk, too much this way. Why do you cuss? You sound like one of them ghetto bitches and shit like that. Yeah. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And I was devastated when that ended. But looking back on it now, that ending was the best thing that ever happened to me.
See,
It
purpose.
really is. I think had I been together with that same person, I would have been fucking miserable, and it really would have ended really bad.
See, purpose.
You know what I'm
All we have
saying?
every is for a purpose.
And it helps you
Yeah.
avoid kind of red flags in the future, but you got to pay attention to it. So if you got to sit back and sit down and think about the different people in your life, and what they got out of it, what you got out of that. You know what I'm saying? Does it match up? Does it even out? Because if it doesn't, then a conversation needs to happen. If it's too much, then a split needs to happen. You know what I mean? It all
Yeah.
depends. But all of that helps you notice different things down the line and choose maybe better people around you. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't excuse ugly people from doing other things, but you can do things to protect yourself from ugly ass motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't absolve them from anything.
Right. It's basically about, because we all have
But
to
you have to protect your energy.
find a
I
way.
guess that's what
Exactly.
I'm
We've had to
saying.
find a
You know
way
what
to
I'm saying?
coexist
Everybody keeps
here.
saying that now. You got to protect your energy. But I mean, yeah, you do. You know what I'm saying? It sounds cliche now, but it's very true. You do have to protect your energy. You know, because not everybody has a really good, not everybody has a good purpose for your life.
They don't. So you got to be real picky about who you
got
let
to know your
access you.
purpose for yourself.
Right. That's a whole, all that goes back to boundaries. That's all boundaries still.
Become somebody, you know, the vessel for somebody else's purpose. You better know your fucking own.
Yep. So that's the purpose of relationships, because it's here to help, to teach us, to help, you know, because we're all learning from each other. We can see, like I said, the purpose, like connecting with you. Who would have thought that we would be doing it? You know what I'm saying? But I met you about 8 years ago, and because someone saw that.
Has it been that long?
It has, girl. It has.
Oh shit! Yeah.
2013. It was like 2012, 2013.
You right? Damn.
And the only reason why I know is because I was going through a whole. It could have been before that, quite as it's kept, but the reason why I know is because you came to my book signing in 2013. That was March 2013. Yep. And that was the time when I left my ex-husband and that whole thing, you know, the whole shit show that came on with that. So, and then again, that's a purpose. So you came into my life for a reason. So even though we went through a long periods of time, we would go through like a year or so, we wouldn't even hear from each other. But it was something that it was like it's a purpose, like purpose partner. I call people purpose partners. So it don't necessarily have to be like romantic partners, but that's initially why I started saying it. But partners, people in your life that you like, even like collaborations. 8 years later, here we are collaborating when we've been talking about writing and stuff all of this time. So somebody thought enough of us to say, oh, I know this person, and because you're a writer, maybe you all can talk. And I'm just like, okay. I had written a book when I met you. It was only a year into it. It's like, I don't know much, but hey. So then you came to my book signing, then you show support, and then we would drift off, and then we'll come back, and then you'll drift off. So it's a reason, because we help each other learn and grow. So I could see parts of me in you. We both want to heal. We both talk about healing. We are both healing. So that's the purpose. You know what I'm saying? We want to, you know what I'm saying, help our people, really help our culture. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at it like that, because we don't know everything. So it's a lot of shit that I know that you may not know, and a lot of shit you know that I may not know. So that's why we need people. That's why it's dangerous to be a hermit. Like sometimes I do isolate myself, go into my little think tank incubator, but it's only when you get to the point where you're isolating yourself because of some type of trauma and some type of, humans are stupid, humans this, you know what I mean? And you don't want to deal with folks, as opposed to, I'm working on myself, I'm working on a project, and then I come back up to get some sunlight, you know, here and there. But that what makes that different from hermits is that they actually isolate themselves and block themselves off from people because they've experienced some pain, or they're distrusting of people. You know what I mean? So that's a different thing. But that's why I just said this the other day, that the next relationship that I get into, I'm not getting with someone that's a hermit, or because my last 2 boyfriends, neither one of them really have friends. And people don't like to look at this as a thing. They looking at it like, oh, that's good, they could be home more. Nope. They didn't have friends, and it spoke volumes, because one didn't have friends because he was just mean AF. The other one didn't have friends because I really don't even fucking know why he didn't have friends, but he just didn't. So the 2.5 years we were together, there was no, I'm going to just hang out over my boy house to watch TV or just have a drink. Then it becomes this, no, you're my friend. You're all I need. You're my friend. And then you're consumed. Exactly. And that's unhealthy. To me, that's unhealthy. So we can never get to a place where we were on common ground, because he didn't understand why I thought that was unhealthy. He's like, so you'd rather I be in the streets? You having friends doesn't necessarily equate to you being in the streets. You having friends helps you understand, and somebody can reflect back to you if you're doing some dumb shit. You have friends that can be like, no, that was wrong. If you're a hermit and you're only to yourself, you're going to think everything you're doing is right. Hence, you ghosting me. And this is not because I'm triggered. This is just for, for real, like for reference purposes. You ghosted me. If you had some friends in your corner that you talk to on a regular, your friend will come to you and be like, okay, well, that wasn't the best way to handle that. Just like how you saying with your ex, it ended really badly. When you got good, decent people in your corner, they're going to call you on your shit like, dude, that was dumb. Y'all were together all that time and she did this, and you know what I'm saying? Try to talk that out. Don't do that. Because my friends will tell me, oh, yeah, you were wrong for that. And I'll just be like, was I? Okay. And it's up to you to decide whether or not, right. It's up to you to decide whether or not you want to remedy that. But when you don't have anybody reflecting or saying to you or calling you out on your shit, you just out here just doing dumb stuff.
But you know what? Sometimes folks use other people to hide from themselves. You know, to create a hybrid life or a hybrid personality, which is just, you all and nothing and nobody else.
Yeah, no.
It's also manipulative and controlling in a way. That's like step one of the abuser handbook is to isolate people.
Exactly. No,
you know what I'm saying?
Not having that. Look, no. So yeah, this is part one of relationships. And
I think part two, what we'll do is we'll head more into like the friendship and familial aspect of it, because I think we did romantic, purposeful romantic shit.
Yeah, so we could do that.
We done with all that lovey-dovey stuff. Now let's talk with your friends. Bitch, why are you here?
Here you go with this Jocelyn thing. Look, thank y'all for coming out for unpacking our shit, because we unpacking this luggage. Okay.
I will see y'all Sunday at noon. Part one, purpose of relationships. Why is you here?
Why is you here? Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.